Nomads will be a toggleable option for your empire. And in this dev diary, we also get more information on one of the new Nomad origins. We also have news on a new portrait, the Behemothkin, and key DLCs being rolled into the base game. Let's get into this dev diary. Stellaris is 10 years old and we have a birthday gift, some Nomad Intel. Our spy network has been building since the announcement of Nomads last week. We are ready to give an initial report. Many speculated that nomadic status would be determined by an authority, a civic, or an origin, but turns out something new. To be fair, I also thought that, but as you can tell by this screenshot, it's within authorities and type, and you just turn Nomad on or off. We've also got the new portrait, Vipra the Vapor, a new background, which is nice, and the Ark ship, as you can see there. Now, with the nomadic gameplay on, it disables the tutorial. Nomadic gameplay replaces multiple gameplay mechanics. You cannot claim or own systems and planets, and colonies are carried by Ark ships, which also replaces shipyards. The rest is blurred, but there's a lot more detail, it seems, coming with that. And basically it functions the same. We've got our civics, you can go scavengers and reanimators with this. You still got your ethics and origins, I would presume. Nomads is a whole new gameplay option that an empire either is or is not. Then after that, there are multiple compatible civics and origins, which we can see under the gameplay. You got Astrometeorology, Beacon of Liberty, and Beastmasters you can all still take. And that's because we can take stuff from both this new DLC as well as from the vast library of content, which makes this DLC infinitely better in my opinion, because if it was just what they added new, it would be a bit meh. But now you can really decide, would this empire be better as a nomad or not? It does mean that if nomads are really strong, pretty much every build's going to be nomadic. We're going to see though. Of course, I'm going to bring you all the gameplay, the fun, good builds that you can do with it. One of these new origins is Voidfarers. If Prosperous Unification is the pop's origin, then this is the ship's origin. I did buff it while writing this dev diary, and I hope Eldrin approves, else I have to update the picture again. Eldrin did approve it. Here we have the Voidfarer's origin. For this civilization, the journey is the destination, abandoning permanent settlement in favor of life aboard vast Ark ships. They carry their people, industry, and ambitions across the stars. Now remember, you don't have to take this origin if you want to go a basic nomadic origin. You can still take Prosperous Unification. The effects, nomadic origin. So you're going to have to take the nomadic gameplay, I presume. Maybe nomadic origin something different. I don't know why it has to specify that, but there we go. And you start with an additional logistics ship. We don't know what that is. Potentially it's holding your resources is what a lot of people are sort of saying, but we will see hopefully soon. In terms of modifiers, you get 20% more survey speed, 50% dock ship hull repair speed, 50% dock ship armor repair speed, Ark ship action speed 20%, which I don't know what action speed means. Way station build speed, probably the best one here. Building way stations seems important. Chance for Voidcraft research options 20% and research speed to Voidcraft 20%. That's really good. That's going to get your technologies rolling because you have a higher chance for it and research speed. Voidcraft probably is going to buff Voidfarers up, if I was to guess. They've also darkened origins we're not eligible for. So when you click this, you can't go Air the Khan, but maybe it's because they're not a militarist, is what I presume. I think as the Khan you'll have to be militarist for, but it's quite nice that is darkened out. In our initial prototypes for this DLC, we did actually use a special ship set for Nomads, which is kind of what I thought it would be since we had biological ships. Then later they had a special civic. These were always temporary fixes to kickstart development. The DLC for we always had higher ambitions for Nomads, which is great. I really like this. The intention was always to introduce a new toggle, a new setting for empires, because the greatest strength Stellaris has is the decade of great and evocative gameplay, which you get to combine and make new stories out of. Exactly why I really like this, because you can be biological ship nomads with different civics from different DLC, with different origins, telling your own story, which I really like. If you're thinking about buying Season 10, make sure to use my code EP for Stellaris or use the link in the description. It'll take you to the Paradox store where you'll give the channel a cut of the sale and then you'll get a Steam key in return. It's greatly appreciated and helps out the channel a bunch. Thank you. Now, of course, Stellaris launched on May 9th, 2016. This Saturday will mark 10 years, which is crazy. The game that shipped a decade ago was a very different beast from what we're playing today. The galaxy was smaller in a lot of different ways, but we did have 3 different modes of FTL, which everyone always talks about. There were fewer options in general, fewer choices in empire creation, fewer events to experience, and fewer ways to find yourself in unexpected situations. I agree, the game was very basic. I've done a 1.0 game. Maybe we should do one for 10 years in the future, who knows? But there was no origins, not a lot of flavor. Like, the game is where it is because of the 10-year development. development. They did have a foundation though, and the many stories you've all built on top of that foundation and shared with everyone is why we're still here 10 years later writing dev diaries. Just look at this first dev diary. We're kicking off a series of weekly dev diaries for our new game, Stellaris, in September 2015. Not historical, symmetrical starts. Start out small, and most of the world is unknown, and it's still the same. Claim free stuff. As they've mentioned a few times previously, Utopia, Synthetic Dawn, and the Humanoid Species Pack are being rolled into the base game, with the 4.3.6 release on Monday, May 11th, with more details found in this post, which also is really good for the game. These DLCs have been set as free, and we strongly encourage you to claim them for your accounts before Monday. The main reason to claim the free DLCs now is so you've properly flagged as owning them if you choose to play on a pre-4.3.6 rollback branch. It won't matter for any 4.3.6 or later versions of Stellaris, as they'll be integrated into base game from that point forward. But since they're free, and one day you might get the itch to play on 2.8.1, we want to make sure you'll be able to play with Utopia. There will be a way to claim them in the future as well. We're still working out the deals. I believe if we already have the DLC, this doesn't apply to you, but if you don't, claim it for free so you can roll back and play all of that juicy previous updates if you want to roll back. I'm incredibly close to 100,000 subscribers. Once I hit that milestone, I will stream for 25 hours, beating all 25 times Crisis. There may even be special guests within that stream too. So make sure to subscribe, and extra points if you put the notification bell on. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. The 4.3.6 update and the Behemothkin Portrait. As part of the anniversary celebration, a portrait inspired by Biogenesis Behemoth is joining Chirpy as available when you log in with a Paradox account. Look at the Behemothkin. I'm definitely going to be logging in to claim that. The Behemothkin is in the reptilian phenotype, which makes sense. What else is coming in 4.3.6? We're obviously getting the DLC rolled in, which means megastructures, habitats, ascension perks, indoctrination, advanced slavery, hive mind empires, fanatic purifiers, and more are rolled into it. Synthetic Dawn obviously adds machine intelligence empires, rebellions, and more. And Humanoids, of course, has the Humanoid Portrait, pleasure seekers, pompous purists, clone army origin, and more. We also have the portrait substitution option, so if you've got arachnophobia, you can disable spiders. Leaders can no longer be too old to die, and Vipra the Vapor's greeting audio has been fixed. There's some performance stuff if you have high frame rate, and some more stability and modding changes. There's also an extended open beta running on the Stellaris test job assignment branch with major improvements to planetary economy and AI behavior. They're currently looking at shipping these changes with 4.4, so if you want to help with 4.4 development for the AI, go check out that beta, test it out, and give your feedback. Next week, well, since Siggy broke the ice, next week we'll be exploring the Nomads expansion by revealing some details on scientific arc ships, waylines, and the Sacred Path origin. The next few dev diaries are going to be very long, so make sure to subscribe so you can enjoy me reading them to you and explaining them, giving my opinion. Subscribe now. Now, something you have been missing is storms. Storms are actually strong in 4.3. Cosmic storms might be not an awful DLC anymore. Go check out this video to see why and how to get the most out of it. Goodbye.